Warriors, today was the first day of school in New York City for the public school system. And I was thinking how actually extra scary this day must have been for a variety of reasons, for new students, for returning students, for teachers, and yes, even for these illegal alien children. Now, let me break it down for you. I heard a very disturbing story this morning, morning news, that said teachers in New York City should prepare care closets in their classrooms. These care closets should contain school supplies and toiletries for these illegal alien children. I thought, let me dig a little deeper. Who's paying for all of this? Because I know a lot of school teachers across the country, and they're paying for a lot of things out of their own pockets just to make their classroom extra nice. I know a lot of teachers that actually buy children food, school supplies, because they say they come to school with nothing. So I'm digging a little deeper, but as far as I've gotten right now, these care closets are being stocked by the teachers, the educators themselves. Now, let's break it down even further. I saw during the day, specifically, I saw a school in Queens, but I'm hearing across the city and in other areas, overrun with long lines because so many of these illegal alien children, and that's what I call them, because yes, I feel for all children, as I'm sure all of us do, but the fact of the matter remains, these children have come here illegally. We want people to come to the United States legally. Illegal. They were reporting also 2 days ago, 19,000 children would be entering the public school system today. Sources of mine said it would be in excess of 21,000, definitely. And that is, of course, what was reported today. 21,000 plus entering. What do I always tell you? Numbers are probably higher. That's what we're told. We never really have an exact amount. Doesn't matter. If one of these children entered, again, they're still illegal aliens. So teachers out of their own pockets. Now we have our children. Can you imagine how frightened our children must be? This school in Queens specifically, I saw, and I also saw one in Long Island City. Actually, I saw one in Astoria. I saw a couple of different schools today during the course of the day. Regular kids, our American kids, were just all rerouted to go to this building across the street. We're going to hold you over here on this playground, lining up. Again, not enough manpower, not enough students, teachers, but also not enough interpreters, translators. So here you have all these different languages. At last count, we had, I don't even know, crossing the border. We have from every single country. It's not just, Spanish-speaking people. So if we have 80 different languages, perhaps 80 different interpreters and translators, we don't have that here in New York City or our surrounding boroughs. So the day was wasted. I heard it was total chaos, turmoil. And I thought, wow, our children must be looking at all this and wonder why. Why, hearing their mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or caregiver, struggling maybe. Back to school is traditionally the time you get your new sneakers and new backpacks and some new clothes and underwear, and you kind of get gussied up for the beginning of school. Even the teens want those new t-shirts and things like that. I'm thinking, these children have come here, these teens as well, these illegal alien children, and they're getting everything handed to them for free. Now, I'm not saying it's their fault, because I'm sure if you or we lived in any of these countries and we heard free housing and free meals and free schools and free everything, we'd probably hightail it to the United States too, let's face it. But right now, this is what our kids were watching today. And I did see quickly, and I've been working all day, so I have to do some follow-up now, but I did see one teen, 14-year-old boy, Astoria, the one school, who said, I don't understand any of this. I come to this school. I was so excited to come from my other school. This was going to be his first year at this high school. And I have to stand out. It was 96, 97 degrees here today in New York. on the street and wait while all of these other kids are getting serviced. And then they sent me to a building across the street to hold me because there was not room in the school for me. And I live here in the neighborhood. Can you imagine? So we are not taking care of our own American children. This is probably not news to you. So now tomorrow we'll have day 2. And I'm sure the chaos will ensue. But how unfair is this to put our children? They have been through enough in the last couple of years. And also, I'm always stuck on the fact that these illegal alien children and teens, you are not allowed to ask about their vaccination status. We don't know. We don't know their medical histories. Yet our children were forced to wear masks. And also, you can't go to schools unless you provide that card with all those vaccination dates on it. How unfair is all of this? I've pretty much had it. The people of Staten Island, a borough of New York. New York's very large with Brooklyn and Queens and Staten Island. And, they're fighting back because this one migrant, as they're calling it, migrant shelter. Again, I'm saying illegal aliens because I want everybody to call it what it is. I'm tired of sugarcoating what is going on. In an old school building, St. Anne's, that was not being used anymore, was set up to be a family shelter, Staten Island. Well, lo and behold, the residents living around this school building only saw single men, which is what I'm seeing a lot of here in the middle of New York City. Yes, there are some families, but I'm seeing a lot of strapping young men, I'd say 30 and under, riding around on mopeds and motorcycles. I'd say they're delivering food, and some probably are, but I hear a lot of them are delivering drugs. I also heard a disturbing fact because, look, they have baskets attached to the front or the back of the mopeds or the motorcycles. None of these have a license, and their baskets are usually always empty. If you're delivering something, and I'm seeing many of these day and night, they should be a little fuller than what I'm seeing. But I'm hearing, again, I don't know it to be fact, that a lot of because I'm like, who's buying these motorcycles? Who's buying these mopeds? Where is this money coming from? And I heard that the cartels are actually financing and having these illegal aliens deliver drugs. Don't know if it's true. That's what I'm hearing. I have it at a pretty good source. Isn't this horrendous? So now we have our kids seeing all of this, our children. Somebody the other day said to me, stop using that word kids. Stop using that word kids. Kids, minors, youth, children, teens, so what? Understand what I'm trying to say to you. And you may say, I live in New York City. I like to point this out. One of the big cities, also a democratic city. I'm putting politics aside right now. This is a bipartisan issue. This is a human rights abuse issue. Our kids must be so scared. Seeing this, being displaced. Even little kids, hearing different languages. And how do you really explain this to them? Or telling them you can't sit at that desk because you have to give little Johnny, little Susie, your desk and chair to this poor illegal alien. And I keep thinking about those struggling parents trying to put food on the table, roof over heads. I'm hearing that once these illegals get off the bus, they are handed $2,200. So a father with a child, $2,200. Then the mother usually has a child. That's $4,400. Right there, $4,400 that you and me are paying for. I'm having a problem with this. I'm also having a problem with the total expenditure for a family of 4. I'm told is $10,000 a month. That would include their board, their free rooms, 3 meals a day, and all else that they are getting for free from different companies. It is equating to about $10,000 a month. And I dare say most American families do not have $10,000, $120,000 a year. They do not have to live on. It is so unfair. So what are you going to do? We at the Warriors, we always take actions. For what it's worth, you cannot say, I can't do anything. We have to keep trying. We have to keep being vocal. Hats off to the residents of Staten Island who have been protesting this migrant shelter. I was also informed by a lawyer yesterday who grew up in Staten Island, did a lot for Staten Island, continues to speak out, Bob Straneri, that we always hear in the media that there's this, so many of these illegal aliens are coming to New York because we have a law here called right to shelter. So nobody can be homeless on the streets. You have a right to have a roof over your head. He pointed out that is incorrect. That is a law that was developed in the 80s to keep homeless people, give them a place to sleep at night. Nobody should be on the streets. Well, these illegal aliens are not homeless because they're coming here and they're getting a hotel room, or they're getting a school to sleep in, or they're getting Randall's Island, which was once, it's right across from the East River. A lot of school groups use the fields there for soccer, lacrosse. It's all been taken away because massive tents have been set up with thousands of beds there for these illegal aliens. Those, I'm told, are mostly filled with single men. We're seeing a lot of single men. And also in Staten Island, they said this was not a family shelter. These are single men that look like they could be in a war, fight. And I'm hearing that a lot. And I'm seeing it with my own eyes. So I'm here to say this is a humanitarian crisis. Our children are suffering. We're suffering. We have a mayor, Eric Adams, basically thought he would just be part and parcel of the Democratic Party in Washington. I don't know what he thought. He's doing nothing for the city. Goes out a lot at night in fancy evening jackets and schmoozes around is a word I like to use. But again, getting back to, you say, well, you're in that big city. I guarantee it's the tip of the iceberg. It is coming to a town near you. It starts in the cities and then it filters out. So we have to be aware. So you need to write house.gov, senate.gov. Make sure you know who represents you. Write to them, call them, email them. It's all right there, house.gov, senate.gov, their contact information. And tell them this is unacceptable. Because I don't want to seem like a Debbie Downer, everybody, but I do get my information from law enforcement, Homeland Security. And it doesn't seem like these open borders are going to be closed or accounted for anytime soon. Yes, we do have an election. It seems like every guest I interview on my daily program, State of the Nation, says we have to change the makeup. You know, in the elections, we have to get these people out and common sense people in. Today, a conservative is really being an American. That's what it means. I don't go by any labels. I am an American. What's best for us and our children and our country. But that being said, conservative today means you're an American. But we have to also keep in mind, we have almost 100 DAs across the country, fully funded by the Soros Foundation and others, that very deliberately were financed and put, and this is a smart move, and we should be learning from this, putting these DAs into cities and towns across the country that effectively are the ones to blame for this escalation of crime. It's vicious and violent out there. I know you know this. I know you see this. I've been in New York a long, long time. Even when they said the terrible 80s, they weren't so terrible. This is terrible. If I didn't know better, I would think buses are dropping people off here in the middle of the night from what I'm seeing on the streets, because they're not New Yorkers. I don't know where they've come from, but they're not New Yorkers. So we have to also always remember it is not always about voting for a presidential election, because I think we all know by now that's kind of a figurehead, right? There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Call it what you want. Shadow government, deep state government, whatever you want to call it. I just know right now Joe Biden is not making all these decisions and shaping up the country, or lack thereof. So we have to be able to vote and know what is going on. I'm very adamant about this at the local level. That means council members. Right now in New York City, we have tremendous chance to replace some of these council members. That is coming up. Everyone, all 51 seats are up for re-election come November. November's right around the corner. And we have to get these DAs out that say, okay, criminals, come beat up on people, paying customers in a Duane Reade. You're allowed to beat up on them and steal from Duane Reade at the same time. And you know what? You'll have no repercussions, because after all, that's the way it goes. We cannot accept this. It starts at the community level, starts in your town, wherever you are. I don't care if you're in the middle of a farm somewhere listening to this. We need to come together. Community creates change. So think about the children. Think about what they're facing watching. Children that don't speak English, perhaps, or even Spanish, infiltrating classrooms. I know kids generally get along on a playground and they'll throw a ball together, they'll play, and this is dangerous stuff. So I want each and every one of you to take action. Thank you always for following lynswarriors.org. I am trying to keep up, but you can see this is a nonstop battle, whether it's information I want to provide to you, doing the work in the community. Sometimes my best laid intentions on a day are I have to switch it all up and go and help service someone who needs help. But we must come together. Thank you for supporting Lynn's Warriors. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the offers to volunteer as we're heating up and have some events that we're getting going right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this. Please, I accept and welcome your comments. Please remember always the children are watching. It is the fork in the road. It is culture shift in the United States. We must each do something, and we can do something. Every voice matters. Community creates change. Go out, remember this every day, and be a warrior.